Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I am talking to Susie Lodge, who is the founder of Wiki for Kids. Susie is a mum of 3 and loves the outdoor life and taking her kids to places, but also making sure that she's really maximising the time and the money that she has available as well. And she realised that there wasn't much quality online content, online recommendations for other parents out there online. So that moment where you wake up in the morning, you open the curtains and you're like, oh no, it's absolutely chucking it down. What am I going to do with my kid today? And then you end up, I know I've done it so often with mine, where you get on the tube and you get there and then it's closed, or there's a massive queue, or all the things, and then you end up kind of having a sandwich on a bench and going home. And so she really realised that there was a gap in the market and wanted to create a website that parents could recommend, places that they've been to, and it's nationwide as well. So if you're in the UK and Ireland, there's lots of things that you can choose from there. So we talk lots about joint incomes. We talk about really letting an idea mature, going slowly but surely, when to move on things, when to hold back. It's a really interesting conversation. So even if you don't have children and you're not necessarily interested in children's activities, don't worry. There's lots of business advice and strategies in here as well. And if you do know of somebody else who would love it, please rate, review, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Here's the episode. Susie, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, let's start with you. What do you do? Where are you up to in your brilliant life currently? What's your business?
Right. So I am a mum of 3. I live in Stony Stratford, and I am the founder of WikiPlacesForKids.com, which is the TripAdvisor for parents and carers looking for amazing things and activities to do with their kids.
Yes.
And everything on there is entirely parent or carer recommended. So it's pre-verified and pre-vouched for, and it's basically a short list of great places to go all around the UK.
Oh, that's so brilliant, because the amount of times where you see something and then you rock up and you're like, oh my goodness, it's just literally a wooden tree. That's what we've come to see. And why did I sign up for this and pay a £5? But no, that's so great. And how did it start? Like, had you always had an interest in visiting lots of places pre-kids, or was it having children that really sparked it?
Yeah, so I always love getting out and about. I'm a bit of a a bit of an outdoorsy type, and I can't sit still. So I always like being out and about, and I like kind of getting out and doing different things before kids. But when I had my second child, I was on maternity leave, and I think I was looking for things to do online, and I just felt really underwhelmed by the resources that were available, and I felt like you were being pushed from site to site, and you had to go through loads of different loops to get the information you wanted. And even then, when you got there, the site might not be very pretty or very user friendly. And I just thought, do you know what? Stuff it. I've got 15 years experience working in digital advertising, and why not just give it a go and create something awesome that is really useful for parents, especially time poor parents, which is what nearly all of us are, who we haven't got time to, make mistakes on days out. We haven't got the money to waste, and as you say, like going and paying a £5 and it just turns out to be a treat. Yeah. So I wanted to create something where it was kind of like word of mouth. Yes. And and I think most people do trust word of mouth, trust their friends for suggestions. And this is a way of collating those suggestions into one place across the whole country, so that if you're visiting Granny over in, I don't know, Colchester, or you're going up to Scotland to do for a weekend, it's really difficult to know what's good, and to make sure that when you go, you're focusing your energies and your attention and your finances on things which are not going to be a waste of time or a disappointment, because we don't have time for that sort of thing. So I wanted to create something that would encompass all those great places into one, full of reviews. And mainly the good thing about it is, as well, unlike TripAdvisor, which has 50% are negative reviews and 50% positive, mine is called Wiki Places for Kids, which is a bit of a play on the word wicked. And if you're a wiki place, that means you're good. And so the whole point is that you are a good place. You haven't got 50% of bad reviews on there. Yes. And if that is the case, then unfortunately you don't get to stay on the list.
Oh, if your name's not on there, you're not coming in. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's so true. And also, I know that thing that sometimes when I've gone to visit my dad in Lincolnshire, like, he's in his mid-60s, he's not in that headspace of like, where's good for little kids at the moment, because that would be kind of weird if he's like, I know this great soft play, I go there every week. Like, he's not doing that, but being able to tap into that is great. How long did it, from the this is what I'm missing, to actually getting the wheels in motion, what did that look like?
Yeah, so just to pick up what you were just saying as well about your dad in Lincoln. So the great thing about it as well is when grandparents, for example, get to have the kids for the weekend, or or basically are in charge for some reason, they've also then got a resource that they can tap into, because exactly like you're saying, they're just not in that community to have that kind of chat. So I started, so I was on maternity leave with Matilda back in 2015, I think 2016. And the idea came to me then, as I said, when I was looking for things to do. It took me about a year or so to kind of get the platform the way I wanted it, to get it to look the way I wanted it to and function, and also to start populating it with a whole bunch of suggestions. I didn't want it to go live empty. I wanted it to go live with I think it went live with about 400 recommendations all across the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so I spent about a year doing that. And at the beginning of 2017, I think that was my first little dabble with Instagram. And in a way, when I started putting information out there on social media, to me, that was really when I suppose I would consider it launched. So I'd say the site has been live now for a couple of years. And as I said, I'm a mum of three, and between Rob and I, we've always had to have a joint income. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to just plough myself 100% into the site and drop paid work. But now I'm actually on maternity leave number 3. My massive goal is to drive the site forward commercially this year, really make it into this amazing wiki list that I have in my head that it will be. And I'm not going back to the contracting life now. This is it. Wiki is the way.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? I love that honesty of a joint income, because we are exactly the same, and we've always been both creative and kind of were quite financially independent before children, and you look at it in a sort of different way. And I think that's such a good realization to make sometimes, that sometimes when people just say, I woke up one day and I had an idea and I built it and I launched it and I just figured it out, that can only really happen if there's a big wodge of money behind something that is really supportive of them. And I think sometimes people get really disheartened if they don't have that progress immediately, because it's not a level playing field. And of course, everybody has different situations, but I think sometimes, I know my own coaching clients sometimes get a bit disheartened, like, oh, I haven't done enough, or like, oh, I started this, but then I had to put it on the shelf. And everything is all to do with momentum and just progress, and you're always moving forward in some shape or form.
Exactly. No, in all honesty, there have been many times where I've just thought I've got to just quit. I can't cope. I can't cope with a full-time job and 3 kids and, 2 dogs and being COO of the family. I can't cope with all of that and trying to build and run a business over the top. And, there have been many times I've looked at other people and thought, it seems easy for you. You don't have to work. You've just been able to follow a little dream. You've turned a hobby into a business and things like that. But, I really think that there's not as many people out there who've had that chance as you think. And a lot of us are building things along the side. And I think because it has been slow progress, maybe it makes me even hungrier now to want it even more. I've put a lot of money into it, and a lot of my time and I still really believe it's a great idea, and I really feel that that I've got that passion in my belly for it still. But at times, absolutely, I haven't. I've wanted to quit. I've cried. I've been disappointed. I feel like I haven't been progressing. Yeah. Sometimes I didn't post on Instagram for 2 whole weeks, and I thought, oh my God, my business has stopped. And I've been hung up on the wrong things. But I think different walks of life and different things that happen to you along your journey give you that kick up the arse again. And I'm now back on maternity leave, and more than ever, I don't want to leave my children. I don't want to be going back to a job in London, and I don't want that type of contract that takes me out of the house for well over 12 hours a day. And so this is a way for me to do something I love with the people I love, and strike the balance that I think is necessary for me to be the person I need to be in the home as well.
Oh, and I love that you've done that work on what success means to you, because I think sometimes we can just all bumble along and get stuck in the to-do list and can't see the wood for the trees, and we're just fighting fires, which I know, having a young family, there is always a sense of that, of oh, I thought it was quiet. Oh, that's why. Or, oh my goodness, we've run out of milk, or we haven't got anything for dinner, or, Oscar said to me the other day, which was very annoying, haven't you ironed these trousers, mummy? I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realise that my housekeeping skills were being judged, but clearly they are. I think there's always something to do, but I think going back to that picture of why you're actually doing something is so important, because it just helps you have that laser focus and keep you on track. Like if you were doing some sort of expedition or something, you would know what kind of direction to keep following in.
Exactly. And I think I've always had this vision of doing the school run, whether it's walking. Actually, my vision is walking to school with the dogs on the school run for some reason, but actually you're not allowed to take the dogs into the school, so that doesn't work. But I think that there's always been that, and I think it got to a point many times when I've forgotten to take something out of the freezer, or I've been the last mum to pick up just before 6 o'clock, or I've been racing back at 90 miles an hour down the back lanes just to leave work on time and to get the kids in time from wraparound club. And you just feel like it's relentless. You're chasing your tail, and so many times I sat down and thought, who is happy in this situation? I'm sure as hell not happy. I'm snapping at the kids because it's already 6:15. We've got to get them in the bath. We've got to get dinner down. We've got to, and it's just, I just don't think that makes me the best person I can be. And so trying to strike a balance where I can, remember to take something out of the freezer on time. Maybe, sometimes just getting dinner on the table makes me feel like I'm winning. So I think that's what I'm really hoping for. And it's not about not working hard either. I expect to take the kids to school and work my butt off during the day to, getting around and meeting different people and getting to different venues and things. But still managing to at least be there for, I've got 3 now who will only going to need me more for things like homework, etc. in the future.
I'm kind of dreading that. I'm like, oh no, they're going to do space, and then all of my flaws and my missing bits of knowledge are going to be completely revealed, going, should have listened a bit more then.
And they do maths completely differently now. I don't even know how they do it.
I feel like I only just sussed it the first time.
Totally.
Yeah, that's such a good point as well, because sometimes I get to that point of the end of the day going, have I replied to all the emails? Have I done all the things that I thought I would do? And then I have about a 4-second window of doing a big exhale and go, okay, cool, survived, right, fine. And then there's always that dawning of like, oh my goodness, I've got to do the same again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And I remember when I first had Oscar sort of saying to my mum, like, in the first week or something, like, well, it's never going to be as hard as this, is it? And she was sort of looking at me going, I don't know what you want me to say, because we don't know what's ahead. You don't know any of the things. What different skills have you learned since doing this that have surprised you, or maybe you'd forgotten about, that you were great at school and then you sort of pulled it out like an old friend, like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this?
I think the thing is, at school I always had loads of different groups of friends. I was never stuck in the one kind of friendship group. And I think that one of the skills that has benefited me now is that ability to just sort of I suppose be liked by different people, different people, different walks of life, and be able to talk to anyone about my business and just kind of being able to muck in. So I think that's one of the main things. I've also, though, I've always been really hardworking. Not always the brightest, but just, but also, pretty. I suppose I'm pretty sharp, and I kind of, and I've always got on quite well with, just cracking on and working hard to get something done. Pretty hard on myself, and I think that because of that, I hold really high standards for what I should be doing and what I should achieve the whole time. And I think when you're in business, if you've only got your own, yourself to be accountable for, that's probably quite a good thing. Although it can be also quite tough sometimes too.
Totally. And to go back to the school days, I would not want to start a business with the lads or the girls that were exceptional at trigonometry, because sometimes and who have no social skills, sometimes you just need that all hands on deck approach. Like, this is the issue that's come up. How do we get through it? How do we get round it? And how do we make progress and move forward?
Exactly. Yeah, I just think I like just meeting new people, and I think also I've been always very good at understanding other people's points of view and empathising. And because of that, I'm quite, I think it's quite good. I understand what sort of triggers a good day and a bad day for parents. I completely get, that some days it can just be about the fact you had to change the nappy in the middle of the floor and it just went everywhere, and and that sort of thing. And I think that being able to kind of understand other people and what drives them also has helped me to create a site that I hope people find a really useful tool, and that answers the challenges that they face.
Exactly. How did you know what sort of technology to use, or what did that process look like? Because I think so many people go, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to write a blog, and then actually there's a lot of work and method behind it. Had your background in digital marketing really helped, or did you seek help, or how did you kind of get over those first hurdles and out of the blocks?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. So I didn't use anything off the shelf or out of the box. So my site is actually bespoke built, and the reason for that is that I rightly or wrongly, and I'm sure in time I'm going to have to change my technology, but I had an idea for how it needed to function, and there was nothing literally out of the box that did that. And I suppose I didn't want to be limited in what the site was able to do. So, for example, because it's all completely parent recommended, there's actually a function whereby you can upload your own recommendation to the site, and it automatically becomes what I call a standard listing. So as soon as a parent adds a place on there, it's automatically added as a listing. What we then recommend is that that place encourages their customers to add loads more reviews, so that they have a nice rich page. But there's lots of other different things that the site does as well. And I just couldn't find something. So I actually, with my experience, I've been working now in digital marketing 15 years. Obviously, I've got a nice little network of people who are developers, designers. So I just was lucky enough, I suppose, to tap into that network that I was already aware of. And as I said before, I've made good friends as I grew up and as I grew up in my career, and I was able to tap into those friendships and get some support, often at mates rates. That's how most of us start out, I think. And and some of us we did this, we went on sort of journey together. So by working with me, they've got things for their portfolio, etc., etc. And then there are other different bits of technology that I've tapped into along the way. So, usual suspects like MailChimp or WordPress. Hopefully I'll be using soon as a blog. Generally, I think it's been my sort of brainchild, I guess. I'm kind of the architect of the site, and I had a very clear idea how I wanted it to look. So probably a little bit controlling in that way, and that's probably why I didn't end up going for something particularly off the shelf in a directory sense.
I think that's really good to be controlling and really clear about what you want. And I often say this to my clients where they kind of go and get help, and then they sort of do that, like, can you just like do me something like nice? You know what I like, and like the request is so random and everything kind of goes round the houses. So for people who are listening, like, if you can really nail down what that is and have examples, like if I've ever helped people to go and have headshots or something like that, I'm like, make some kind of mood board of what sort of setting you want for, what do you want to look like? I mean, there is sometimes a sense of like trying to look realistic. Like if I'm in my lounging pants, I'm not going to be like, can you make me look like Gwyneth Paltrow, please? That would be great. But just giving a sense of a mood, because then when you're working with somebody, they can kind of do their work behind the scenes, and then you get to the solution quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And also, how are you? So you've had your third baby. How are you sort of managing your time on a day-to-day, sort of like, how do you know what tasks to focus on that is going to drive the business forwards? Because I think sometimes there's this sense of like, I don't know what to do, or when people reach a plateau, they don't quite know how to get things moving and shaking again.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm 12 weeks in again on number 3. So Lily is only 12 weeks today. So in all honesty, I am really, I am winging it a bit right now as well. And I've had a little operation as well.
I've never heard a mother say that at all, really?
So I just had a little operation as well, just to fix another blimmin' postpartum problem from my second baby. That's all, if anybody's following me on Instagram, you'll have had a full-blown vision of all of that. But I think I came out of the blocks at the beginning of this year, just really clear that this is the year for me to make a go of it. And while I'm on maternity leave now, this is the chance. So I think, although I'm dealing with a newborn on a daily basis, and I'm trying to allow myself the time to enjoy that as well. What I am doing is I'm quite focused on the numbers of people I need to speak to in a certain amount of time. So I know I've got a few months ahead of me, how many people I want to talk to in that time, how many people I need to convert in order to keep the wolf from the door. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm improving my marketing material so that I'm ready to send out something that I'm really proud of to these new companies that I want to work with. I'm drawing up a list of people I want to speak to, and I guess I'm taking it day by day and kind of going, right, what can I achieve today? How much can I achieve in one day? And I've broken it up a little bit into, in this many weeks I want to have done this many things, and I'm kind of giving myself little bite-sized chunks, because otherwise the to-do list just for me feels overwhelming and I can get quite anxious. And then I've obviously got all the newborn and just having had a baby, hormones is rushing around me. So 1 minute I feel like I'm top of the world, next minute I'm crying and I feel like I'm failing. And so
I feel like that 3 years on.
Yeah. And I've got my son's 5 and he's going through a tricky phase, and you don't know whether or not the tricky phase is because you had another baby and you ruined their life, or because they're just going through a tricky phase because they're 5, and it's the beginning of the school year again, and all of that sort of thing. So I'm just managing, I suppose, by giving myself a bit of a break. I know I'm trying my hardest in everything I'm trying to do, and I know there's only so much time in the day as well.
Yeah.
But I do feel hugely under pressure. I've got I've got a lot to achieve at the beginning of this year because, as I said, I really don't want to go back to that paid job, and I really think that Wiki can be a big player now, and it's something that I can really take further and really take far. So I have to I literally have to kick myself out of bed every day and get myself through that to-do list. And I think the other thing is for me is variety. I'm really not very good if day after day is the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
Luckily, what Wiki provides for me is a lot of variety. So one day I might be going and doing a review. The next day somebody might have sent me something fun to review for Lily. Or I might be, trying to sort out my Instagram feed, or I might be writing emails and sorting out my marketing materials to send out to prospective clients. So I think for me it has to be variety because I get a bit stuck in the rut otherwise. And I hope that's a bit.
No, it really does. And do you know what I really love about that is that it's very kind of customer audience facing when it comes to actually like converting or speaking to people or telling people or directing people to the site. And I think sometimes because there can be that scared feeling, especially if it's like, this is me and my personal brand and this is what I'm selling, it can be that, oh my goodness, I'll just do the easy things that are behind the scenes and kind of jazz it up like I'm working on my business, but actually it's not moving it forward. And I think getting really clear on your numbers, like you say, of like, what am I trying to do? How many people am I trying to get here? So what does that look like on a daily basis is so key. It's really important. What helps you keep in a sort of a good frame of mind and it keeps you focused, I guess, on those days where you've been up all night, you're shattered, you're trying to do all the things and nobody's playing ball?
I think it's, to be honest, it's probably the pressure of that end goal. I know that sitting around and doing nothing is going to not move me forward. And so I really do need to just, crack on, basically. And I think on those days when it is tough, like I'm just recovering now from this little lot. I'm frustrated that I can't move things forward. I'm frustrated that I don't feel brilliant. And sometimes too much time sitting around for me builds the little enemy on my shoulder who just starts saying that you're not good enough and this and the other. I think I'm trying to learn techniques to kind of give myself a bit of a break. So it's okay to not, create a revolution every day. I think it's okay if you maybe stand still one day to move forward again the next day, like give yourself a bit of a break. But I think the main thing for me is I've got this lovely big goal ahead of me and I'm really excited about it now. I think I'm more excited about it than I've ever felt, and I don't know where that's come from. It's I do believe everything's meant to happen for a reason, so perhaps the last couple of years as things have been kind of being a bit slower to move forward, maybe that was happening for a reason. And maybe now I've just the beginning of this year and having had Lily now, this is the right time in my life to really drive this forward. And I just feel like things are happening. I've got a fire in my belly. I just really believe I believe in the law of attraction, and I've been thinking really clearly about who I want to meet and how I want things to happen. And it really does feel like when I think about things positively that something positive happens as a result. So I think that's what's really driving me forward.
Sometimes you're not in that phase of your life. There's always that flip side where you're trying to do all of the things, and sometimes it's just a case of like you can just leave it for that time. It's not the right time. And I had a bit of sense of that at the end of last year where I was trying to do all the things, and I suddenly came to the realisation of going, I've got to take control here and just park that. I can't do all the things. And that really frustrated me because I'm very much like, no, I've said I'll do it. And it was on my goal list and it's October and I haven't done anything about it. And it's like, well, hopefully I'm not going to die at the end of this year. I'm going to get more days to kind of live this out and to continue it. And, you know, be kind to yourself. It's like, I always think, I don't know if you've been to Glastonbury, but that moment where you have to walk from the car park with all of your stuff on your back and on your front, that you can only get to the end point where you have those rests or those checkpoints where you're like, right, everybody, we're stopping, we're taking our rucksacks off, we're having a beer, and then we'll be good to go again in 10 minutes. Like, you have to have that sort of pace to be able to get to the end point, because otherwise you're just going to crash and burn.
I completely agree. So I think at the beginning of last year, I for whatever reason, I ended up being offered a permanent, well, pretty much a permanent role in a company, and it clashed in a way with my goal, you know, my Wiki goals, and I found it really difficult to accept it. However, financially, it just needed to happen. Mm-hmm. So I took on that role, and as it turned out, in my career. In my digital career, that has been the biggest job I've ever taken on. And so I suppose in a way I needed to do that. And as it turned out, for whatever reasons, I ended up pregnant. And so maybe...
Not connected to the job.
Nothing to do with the job, no. But, the coincidence, I suppose, is that I was given a secure job to handle my entire pregnancy. And, you know, maybe that was just the journey that I was given at that time, and now and that could be the reason, perhaps, you know, for whatever reason, trying to build a business and not being in a secure job while being pregnant, that clearly wasn't what was meant for me at that point. However, during that entire time, I felt so frustrated. I felt like a massive failure, that Wiki wasn't moving forward, that I hadn't, you know, done these things that people were suggesting. I was having so many suggestions from people. You should do this, you should do this. And it's like, yeah, I know, I really should. And I was, you know, so cross with myself all the time for, you know, feeling so sick that I had to go to bed at 7:30 at night and not do any of those things that people were suggesting. I know that my husband was frustrated with me. He's like, you're not doing the things I'm telling you to do. But I just felt at that point that I was doing the maximum I could possibly physically do. But unfortunately, that didn't move this part of the business forward. And I hated that. But, you know, as we said, perhaps that was the reason, that was that. And now I've got this opportunity right ahead of me, and this is it. I'm grasping it with two hands now. So...
And I basically think Lily knows all the things. Like, Lily just seems to know what's happening with this business, and it's like she's got a plan. It's really lovely. It's great.
And I look at her, and every time I look at her, and I think I don't want you to go into childcare sooner than you know I want to, or and I think that this is. I want to be with you, and by driving this business forward now, this is a way I can do it with you. And that's the amazing thing, because all the businesses that I talk to, they're obviously family friendly and child focused. It's the sort of thing that I can take my child along to, and this whole kind of a new way of looking at things, where it's that a lot of companies have now, that you can be you can still be a viable person and have your child in tow, is great. So I'm, as long as I can continue to take her on these little meetings that I have, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Fantastic. And I would much rather do that than go to some crummy church hall and sing nursery rhymes out of tune. And it was just, it's about making it work as well. I've got one final question, which is, where would you like to be in the next 5 years?
So I've got this really, what I think is a cool idea for the Wiki list. So everything on the site is completely parent recommended. What I really want to drive is these top 10s in every county around the country. And I would like to create approximately this kind of top 400. So we've got 400 amazing places, which are the top 10 places to go in every county. So if you're going to visit Somerset, for example, for the weekend, you're like, I'm going to visit Wiki Places Kids. I'm going to look at that top 10. I'm also going to see everything else they've got. But if I've got literally 2 days and I want to hammer it, I'm going to do those top 10 things. And I really want to build this kind of amazing, what I'm calling like the mother of all list, which sits on top of the Wiki list, which is everywhere, everything on there is entirely brilliant and parent recommended. And I'd love the site to be literally the go-to place for parents and grandparents and carers in this country. And I'd love to start going in and consulting with venues and explaining to them how they can be, on the Wiki list and what they might need to do to be even more family friendly, what restaurants might need to do to encourage more families in, different things like that. Because my site isn't just about the obvious places like Legoland and CBeebies and all of those different types of venue. My site really is about championing the small places as well. So cafes that have got a small soft play corner, that's got a small little area for kids for, with reading. It's about really finding those great places that you might not even realise existed in your town, but pulling them out and making them known to the nation. And I think in 5 years' time, I would love to be known as somebody that built this really great product that is really useful to people out there and that they go to regularly.
And that people can go to on a rainy Tuesday and have a great day out for a £5 rather than going, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to sell one of my children to take them to Legoland, because those things become really inaccessible to some people who are trying to, I guess, entertain their kids for the whole of the 6 weeks holiday or something like that. So, I love that idea, and I can't wait to sort of see where it goes. If people want to come and find out more, or if they wanted to leave a review or get in touch or any of that sort of stuff, what should they do?
Okay, great. So I'd love your reviews, please, people. The whole site is built on the amazing suggestions that you guys make. So if you have anywhere that you think you should you tell your friends about, or that you think needs to be known by other parents out there, then please go onto the site at wikiplacesforkids.com/recommend, and there is a little form on there, and it's really quick. It takes about 2 minutes to fill out, and it's auto generated from Google as well, so half of it pre-populates as well. So I'd love your reviews there. The site itself, as I said, is on wikiplacesforkids.com, and if you'd like to find out more about me, and I am the mama behind the business, and my Instagram is @thewikimama, and there's a good mix of me telling you all about my operations and the places that we go to and how annoying my kids have been and all that sort of thing. And I'm quite warts and all, as you probably heard now. And so I'd love you to come there and see me there. And also I'm on Facebook as facebook.com/wikiplacesforkids. And that is where we showcase loads of the great things that my Wiki ambassadors do, that my Wiki families do, and when they write reviews, they all get put up there all across the country. So you'll see all the amazing places that we're discovering and trying to share with you across the social channels as well as on the site.
Wonderful. That is so brilliant. And do you know what? It's that site, it's just kind of dawned on me as well. It's not just that fun that you have on that day. It's making memories with people. And, we didn't have a great night's sleep last night, so I think I'm a bit tired and emotional today. But it's that sense of, oh my goodness, like life is really short. And if you're going to visit grandparents, or if you're going to do this, or, one of you is off work that day, like you want things to really count. You do want to... my mum sent me a picture the other day, and I think we'd gone to Cleethorpes or somewhere on a really cold day, and me and my brother are sitting in the boot of the car having some sort of picnic, wearing some sort of shell suits and things like that. And you look back and you just go, oh, that was happy days. I mean, whether it was or not, I may be living in a fantasy land, but we're all trying to build these things for our future, for our family, and even if we're not parents, if we're aunties and uncles, and, I know my son's aunties and uncles are always like, oh, trampolining, yeah, I want to go there. Oh, great, can we take him? And people love that childlike quality as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I love the fact that there is so many different things being suggested on there that, as you said, is you can filter on free, you can filter on the age of your kid, you can filter on outdoor or indoor, so you can really hone it into whatever your particular requirement is in the holidays or on the weekend or after school or whatever. And as you said, it's when you are time poor, firstly, you don't have time to wade through endless search results, which can be the case on Google or on other websites, but also you don't have time. I don't personally have time to make a mistake and end up going somewhere for the whole day and then just being really disappointed. When you're trying to manage a business and your family and everything, you just really want these little days out that you plan in to count and to, as you said, create those amazing memories that we're all just trying to build. Because time is going so fast, isn't it? Like, I can't believe my son's 5. It's just not crazy. So.
It really is. And all those science lessons I sat through, and I was like, oh my God, this is boring. I'm never, ever going to leave this room. And then suddenly you're like, oh my goodness, I'm a grown-up age now. Wow. But, thank you so much, Susie. I've absolutely loved chatting. I'm going to go on the site. I've got a couple of recommendations that I've been thinking about whilst we've been on this call. So I'll add those. And other people, if you want to do the same, please do. And let's grow this community. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.